Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we are going to do a quick review of the T40. That is the tier 4 collectible reward that you can acquire by getting the premium battle pass. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the first stage. Here it is. And I thought it could be a good idea simply because not a lot of YouTubers did a review about it. And I actually find that tank quite amazing and fun to play. And it's a really good tank to begin with when it comes to Tank Destroyer. Because back in the days, this tank was here and was a tech tree because it was implemented during the 5.5 update. It was not implemented, it was destroyed or removed, I should say, during the 5.5 update. But before it led to the T124, so it's an American, nothing really special here. So what do you need to know about that tank? Back in the days, the mobility of that thing was so horrific that it was impossible for you to do anything with it. But it seems like Wargaming buffed it because nowadays it feels like the mobility is quite great, and that's what we're going to start with. You can go to 38 kilometers per hour maximum, and trust me, at tier 4 it's way more than enough for you to do the job. And this is what is going to make that tank incredible, because when it comes to the armor profile, you are not going to bounce anything. You are HE proof, yes, but when it comes to AP heat or APCR, you are going to get completely wrecked. So be careful what you're doing with that tank, because if you're exposed, you are going to be completely crushed. For the rest, and what's the most important part of the tank in my opinion, it's the gun. Obviously, that's a tank destroyer, so we expect that gun to be a really harmful one. And here it's the case, because when we take a look at the aim time and all those characteristics, that gun is quite juicy. 3.3 seconds of aim time, which is really good for tier 4. The gun dispersion is not the best, but considering we're at tier 4, it's a good one, 0.35. The DPM is 1.2k, and finally, the reload time is 8.2 seconds. What's crazy about this tank is the penetration value, because you have 128 with your regular, which is way more than enough for you to penetrate anything. And if you're not sure if you can penetrate or not, for example, if you're facing a Panzer B2, a Matilda, or even some tier 5 that are extremely armored like a T1 Heavy, you can always switch to your APCR featuring nearly 180mm, which is going to do the job anyway. After, for the alpha damage, 165, it's enough for you in 3 shots to destroy pretty much every tier 4 you're going to encounter. And the gun depression, and this is where that thing is crazy, because when you combine the mobility plus the gun depression, you know how to play it. You have to do peekaboo from reach line, and this is what we are going to try to highlight today. So yeah, that's pretty much how that tank works. And for the rest, what I like to do with it is going for the gun rammer to decrease my reload time, and then gun lane drive to reduce my aim time, the refined gun to decrease my gun dispersion to be sure to be able to snapshot from time to time. And for the rest, just go as I did without any more explanations, because it's not useful. Let's go into the replay. As it's a tier 4, I don't necessarily need to make the review quite long. We're gonna go for one game only, and it's more than enough. So what you can see at the beginning of the game, when you equip your tank properly, when you have the 100% crew, when you have all the equipments running on, you see that you can go pretty fast, because my mediums, or I should say light tanks at that tier, are all still in the spawn, whereas me, I had the time to travel at least 200 or 300 meters. Also because I have a good internet connection, but this is something we are not going to talk about right now. What you want to do with the T40, for those of you that acquired the tank, it's quite simple actually. You need, and it's extremely important, you must not be the main target of your opponents. You don't have an armor that will allow you to sustain on the battlefield. But when they don't care about you, like it's the case right now, what you want to do is using your 10 degrees of gun depression from reach line, like I'm doing right now. And I'm going to highlight to you why it's important. Here, you see that even if I have 10 degrees of gun depression that I'm using to the max there, I can't show only my gun. Which implies that from the point of view... Wait, sorry, I missed the... From the point of view of my opponent, they're always going to see my whole tank. And regardless of where they are going to shoot, they will penetrate. What you want to do is, between the 2 shots of your opponents, you shoot one and you crawl back to a safe position if you are under fire. For the moment, it's not a problem. I'm not under fire, and I want to remind you that at tier 4, most of the players don't know what they're doing, so it's easier for you to do the job. But as they're not shooting at me, I can crawl back to a safe position every time I shoot, between my shots, I should say. And this is pretty much all you have to do with this tank. Make sure also to stick with the rest of your team, because otherwise you are going to get completely screwed thanks to your armor that is inexistent. But hey, now we're taking some more risks and it's not paying off. In this kind of situation, don't try to stick to the same spot. Try to move around the map, try to circle. And here I see that there is a real threat coming to me. There are two T40 and trust me, they could literally snap me in 2 shots. So what I want to do right now is taking care of them first. They are the main targets. We kill the first one and now I'm going to use the wreck of the dead T40 for me to be able to circle around and bounce the shot from the other T40. Something I forgot to tell you guys, we're gonna see that after when the T40 dies. I forgot to tell you, but when you're shooting at a T40, and even if you're a T40, shoot either right there, here, or here. Because when you take a look at what's inside the tank, you see that those right there and right there are the ammunition. So if you want to kind of amorag the tank and do some one-shot, you know what to do, just shoot at those areas, if you have the possibility for it, obviously. 206, your max roll, which is quite juicy considering we're a tier 4, and that's pretty much how we end the game. Not a really good game, but I just wanted to highlight the playstyle of the T40 because playing it this morning, I saw a lot of people not necessarily being aware of how to play that tank correctly. But at least now maybe you have the main advices for you to play correctly. Stick with the rest of your team. Try to play with your 10 degrees of gun depression from the reach line. And every time you are reloading, back up to a safe position from which nobody can shoot you. And I was saying at the beginning of my review that this was a good tank to learn how to play tank destroyer because that tank fits everything a regular and traditional tank destroyer has to do on the battlefield, aka support, dealing damage, and be aware when to retreat or when to push. Hopefully you enjoyed, guys. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new one. Bye.